So, when you think about a company's most valuable assets, what pops into your head? Is it their fancy tech, their brand name? But what if the most important asset isn't something you can even list on a balance sheet? What if it's the brainpower, the creativity, the pure expertise that literally walks out the door every single evening? Let's dig into why a company's greatest strength is, without a doubt, its people. All right, here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with this big idea of walking assets. Then, we'll get into the real nuts and bolts of what staffing even is. After that, we'll see how it acts as a company's performance engine, figure out where it fits into the grand scheme of human resource management, and finally, we'll crack open the playbook that HR managers use to make it all happen. First things first, we've got to have a major shift in how we think. That old school view of employees as just cogs in a giant machine, it's completely out of date. Today, the real bedrock of any successful company is its people. They aren't just a resource, they are the main asset, period. And this idea? It's captured perfectly by Narayana Murthy. I mean, just think about that for a second. Unlike a factory or a piece of software, your best people are here by choice. Their skills, their ideas, that's what creates all the value. So the real challenge for any company isn't just managing them, it's about building a place that makes them want to walk back through that door every single morning. Okay, so if making people want to come back is the goal, how in the world do you actually do that? Well, that's where the mechanics of staffing come into play. On the surface, it sounds super simple, but as you're about to see, it's a really deep, complex, and strategic process. At its absolute most basic core, staffing is just this: putting people to jobs. It's all about filling the roles an organization needs to get work done. Simple enough, right? Well, not so fast. That simple definition? That's really just the tip of the iceberg. See, real staffing isn't a one-and-done event like filling a single open spot. No way. It's a continuous, multi-stage process that, honestly, never really ends. So, what does that whole process actually look like? You gotta think of it like a complete life cycle. It is not just about hiring someone. It all starts way before that, with figuring out what you actually need. Then you move into recruiting and selecting the right person. But it doesn't stop there. It keeps going with placing them in the right spot, getting them up to speed, training them to be even better, and then constantly checking in on their performance. It's about getting, using, and keeping a team that's both doing great work and is happy doing it. Now, this entire process feeds directly into what I like to call the performance engine. We've talked about what staffing is, but now we need to talk about why it matters so much. Because getting this right, or getting it wrong, is maybe the single biggest factor in whether a business flies or fails. And listen, the stakes just could not be higher. The right people can literally launch your business into the stratosphere, but the wrong people, they can completely break it. Every single staffing choice you make either makes your foundation stronger or it creates a tiny crack that could eventually bring the whole thing down. Okay, so if we agree that staffing is that critical, what are the actual tangible benefits of getting it right? What does great staffing really do for an organization? When you nail your staffing, it creates this incredible ripple effect. It all kicks off with finding really competent people. Then, when you put that right person in the right job, what happens? You get higher performance, naturally. And that higher performance is exactly what fuels the company's long-term growth and survival. All along the way, you're making the best use of your people and boosting morale. It just creates a winning environment for everyone. I mean, the contrast is just so stark, it's almost funny. It's night and day. On one side, with good staffing, you have this amazing positive cycle of high performance and growth. And on the other side, a total downward spiral of waste, bad quality, and high costs. It just goes to show you, staffing isn't some side task for HR. It is a critical make-or-break business function. All right, so we've covered the what and the why of staffing. Now, let's zoom out a bit and see where it fits into the bigger picture. Because staffing doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's a core piece of a much, much larger puzzle. And that larger puzzle is called human resource management, or HRM. The best way to think about HRM is as the entire strategic playbook for a company's people. And staffing, it's one of the first and most fundamental chapters in that playbook. You absolutely cannot win the game without it. This whole field has evolved like crazy over time. It started way back with a labor welfare officer, who was basically just a go-between. Then that role grew into the personnel manager, who handled the basic mechanics of hiring and firing. But today's modern human resource manager is playing a totally different game. Their job is to be strategic, to actively develop people into a valuable competitive advantage for the whole business. So this brings us right to the modern HR playbook. As companies get bigger, you can't just leave all this complexity to every single manager. You absolutely need specialists. So let's take a look at the key tasks these pros are doing every day to bring this whole staffing function to life. You see, as a company starts to scale up, complexity just explodes. More people means more needs, more rules, more challenges. It gets complicated fast. And that is precisely why a specialized human resources department becomes absolutely essential. They are the experts in managing people, which frees up everybody else in the organization to focus on what they do best. And the scope of what they do, it's massive. I mean, it starts with recruitment, of course, but it goes way beyond that. They're analyzing jobs, setting up pay and bonus plans, training people for the future, and they also handle really complex stuff like labor relations, dealing with complaints, and even defending the company in court. They're truly managing the entire journey of an employee from start to finish. So, to wrap this all up, just think of your organization like a sports team. Staffing is everything. It's your scouting, it's your draft, and it's your player development, all rolled into one. It is the most fundamental choice you will ever make. So the question is never just, are we filling positions? The real question is this: who are you putting on the field to win?